Welcome to the show, everybody. I want to remind each of you out there to like and subscribe on YouTube. We are Film Talk Radio. Today we are joined by director, filmmaker, maestro Godfrey Reggio. Godfrey, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So, Godfrey, you're coming fresh off MoMA, your screening in September of Once Within a Time. Tell me a little bit about that. Was that it's finally being released theatrically and the
Right.
world is going to get to see the movie. What has that experience been?
Well, unlike all the other films, Koyaanisqatsi to Visitors, these films were, I'm talking about when they came out now, not now. These films were pariahs, didn't know what to say about them, got terrible reviews from Ebert and the reigning guy at the New York Times. The LA Times gave us a great review then, but it was a review, and they said, like, for Visitors, the most expensive screensaver ever made. Koyaanisqatsi was a beautiful coffee table book, kind of interesting, but who cares? So this film, I didn't check this out, but I was told by one of my friends that 9 out of 8 reviews are over the top positive. They know how to check those. As soon as this film came out, it was packed audiences. I never had that till later for Koyaanisqatsi and the other films. So it was a completely different experience, something I felt would happen but didn't know until it happened. So it's at 40 theaters right now. It's climbing. It's going to go to Europe, I'm sure, to the East, to the Middle East. So it's coming at a fantastic time. So I must tell you, because I can't see myself, I feel so young and yet so old. But I'm bothered by the young that feel so old and are yet so young living in this world right now. So it's it's a difficult time for young people, especially because the world is their world and they can see the duplicity of everything. AI runs the whole scene for years. So it's a very interesting and difficult time, which makes art even more important. Art's to lance the boil, to it should be painful. Art should be painful. The coming of the barbarians, in that great book, it says only pain is real. Now, this was the torturer that said that, but we're being tortured by the world, by AI, by the world we live in. So yes, it's happy times that it's being received, but it's also being received at the time of maximum social crisis. So beyond the word, we should all assemble at dawn and do some mischief, if I may say.
Godfrey, you're now 1,000 months old. What advice would you give to a filmmaker 500 months old or 200 months old? That advice that maybe you could have used along the way.
Well, I feel I know what I'm going to say because I've lived it. It's not by grace and gratuity that one should want to be a filmmaker. One has to be committed like to an asylum. Most films made are never finished. Most films finished are never seen. Most films seen are seen for a blink of an eye. So I would say, if you have the passion to leap, your net will appear. So you have to keep doing it. It's not something easy to do. It takes years. You have to find your film is not finished till you have a distributor. That's an ordeal beyond belief to get a distributor today, especially with the time span of attention, both from the distributors and from the audience. It's 2.5 seconds, maybe as long as 8.5 seconds. So we're
Now,
on steroids outrunning the future.
yeah, I'm glad you brought up distribution. Once Within a Time was recently acquired by Oscilloscope,
Yeah.
and they're getting the film out there in the world.
Yeah.
I know Steven Soderbergh was a producer on Once Within a Time. Tell us a little bit about working with Steven Soderbergh. We know him from Sex, Lies, and Videotape, the
Uh,
Ocean's 11 remake, Traffic, and so many more.
well, you should look him up on the internet. He has a beverage he sells from South America, I think Bolivia. And he's on the internet with some guy that interviews people that are selling things, and he drinks the whole bottle in an hour. And by the time the ending is, I can't describe it. It's unbelievably courageous and funny. He's the funniest guy I know. He and I have been working together since Nakoikatsi Visitors, the Holy See, which no one has seen, and now Once Within a Time. And in each case, he's given me total freedom to do as I wish, which is rare because the first thing you have to get is money, money, money to do the project. But money usually tells you what to do. He's never, ever told me what to do. Trust is what's involved. Like any good spy, if you don't trust the guy or the girl you're with, you're in trouble. So he and I are spies for what's going on now, and we trust each other. That's the biggest bond of political espionage.
And you mentioned creative freedom. Do you want to speak a little bit about the importance of that for a movie maker in particular, but also just in the arts?
Well, I might have said before, but it's worth saying again. I gave up making money, take a New York documentary wage, in order to get the big money, which is the control of the film. So from Coppola to Lucas, now to Soderbergh, those guys are like the Godfathers. Nobody messes with them. They're my guarantees of my final bottom line is I get to control the film and the copyright, my organization. Other people buy the exhibition rights, but the copyright always comes back to us. And that's what freedom gives you, the ability to do what you think you know what you're doing. I think I said before, Nietzsche says, act as if you know what you're doing. It's an art project. I have to knock on many doors to find the money. And it's not the story, it's the storyteller. I have to be, and that is in an art project, it happens over time. As Tarkovsky says, it's sculpting in time. So I'm lucky to have a backer like that, someone that trusts me and I trust him. Rare.
Well, and I recently got a chance to see the making of Once Within a Time. And in the film, we get to see you leading this band of merry pranksters. Let's see, is it an onion? Is Into Once Within a Time? Is the short film more of a wormhole or a portal to the feature film? What is the making of Once
Well,
Within a
here's
Time?
the thing. I don't like to reveal magic. A lot is in that film. I grew to love it actually after not wanting to do it because for me I haven't died yet, but it's like an obituary by my friends who saw the film and wanted to comment on it because everything this film was created in play because it's created for children who children live in a world different from you and I. Many of them, sadly, the world is born into their mind at birth, so they know more about it than you and I. Okay. Uh, I think you heard me say, but it's worth repeating. A kid today will have heard and seen more in a day than the kid in the Middle Ages will have seen in a lifetime. So they know the horrors that's going on. So play is the way to reach them. This film is based in the reptilian mind, which controls the right and left hemisphere. And it's the right hemisphere that this is aimed at, the hemisphere of dreams, of aphoristic thought, of nonlinear progression, of being clear and ambiguous exactly at the same time, so that you get to say what it is. It's a trilectic, the visual, the oral, and the audience, a triangle again, the shape of the universe. So it's let you see your own film.
Godfrey, I'm looking at this New York, or excuse me, I'm looking at this LA Times article, and I love the picture they use of you. The
Oh,
headline the headline is An Experimental Prophet Returns from His Wilderness with a New Film for Children.
well, that's quite catchy. So that's a nice headline.
Well, and they used a good picture, which I feel like is the most important. Godfrey Reggio is 83 years old, wearing tinted glasses and a cozy beanie, his flowing white beard extended below the edge of the frame. Reggio has a glint in his eye as he tells this story, although he adds, I'm not recommending it, please. Reggio is treated like a guru, and we nearly lost him. It's early October as he discusses his latest project, his first film in a decade, which opens at Fairfax's Braindead Studios on Friday. Once Within a Time is the closest Reggio has come to anything resembling a traditional story. The man behind the Kotsky trilogy, 1982's first installment, Koyaanisqatsi, remains a pillar of wordless filmmaking, has at least tried his hand in crafting characters and a wisp of plot, teaming up with frequent collaborator and now co-director John Kane to pair green screen actors with digital effects and miniatures. Part fairy tale, part salute to silent cinema, and part surreal nightmare. There's even a Mike Tyson cameo. Once Within a Time, like all of Reggio's work, is about life out of balance, which is what Koyaanisqatsi means in Hopi. The occasionally apocalyptic film features images of towering cell phones held by disembodied hands, children's faces being digitally scanned, and a massive Trojan horse consisting of electronic parts. As is always the case, Once Within a Time took years for Reggio to complete. The writer-director reshaping the project as it went along. But a few months before wrapping, he came down with COVID. The prognosis was dire. So, yeah, you're about to finish this major magnum opus, and you get sick.
Yeah. Well, I really got sick. I was dying. I took Praxid and I came back to life. So I was very lucky. We assembled the crew and finished the film. But had I died, then, it would have been okay. John and the crew and Soderbergh, it was right towards the end. So I would have been happy to move on. But so I came back and we did the project, finished it. I was very lucky. Then I came back home.
I think working with young people is rewarding in so many ways, but I think that idea that if you don't go on, or God forbid, you can't finish the project, that there's this group of people that will take it on. I think that gives you a lot of solace, a lot of freedom, a lot of confidence in what you're doing.
It does, it. Let me say this also. You've heard me say it before, but my job is to be everything from a mother to an assassin. But I realized that everything, it took 9 years to make this film, 8 years in the room I'm in with just a few people, and 16 months in the birth canal. There's no such thing as the best crew. It's the crew that wants to be giving their life over. You live many lives, die many deaths. This is hard for all of us to just now disappear into the woodwork. How quickly the dead grow cold. But the film is alive. It's not going to grow cold. It looks like it's getting hotter by the day. So I can only feel fortunate for that. As I said, all other films got terrible opening reviews except in the LA Times and some others, I should say, but it didn't make any difference because the big guys slammed it. So I'm lucky now. All this is in motion. I can say bye-bye and it's all going to happen. They have a life of their own. Films have a life of their own if they're cogent, if they're visceral, if they speak to what I always felt that I wanted to make films personal because I think everything a person does tell you more about them than about the subject. So I felt, right or wrong, that I could say what a lot of people were feeling but couldn't say. And I would do so without using a word. So right now, for example, as it opens at CCA, it will open at the Eye Museum in Amsterdam in conjunction with the best documentary festival on the planet, which refused Koyaanisqatsi in the opening days. Now they're doing a whole thing called the Vivid Unknown on Koyaanisqatsi. And
That's
it,
ITFA, the International Documentary Festival of Amsterdam.
yeah, yeah. I did a recording for the uh, Royal Geographic Society on whatever their birthday was, and that led to all of this because in Holland I found out you can't just do anything royal has the imprimatur on it. If the Queen says it's this way, it's this way. So it's like the seal of approval.
You mentioned many lives. What can you tell me about past lives, about reincarnation, about living many different lives over a span of centuries?
Well, over a span of a lifetime as well. Roberto Colasso, who I would recommend from Milano, wrote a book, and he talks about how an artist lives many lives, dies many deaths. I now 11 times in this life have lived 11 times. What is Halloween? Celebrating what?
Well,
Celebrating
the dead, the
the dead. And where are the dead? They're up 60 miles above us in the blue valence. When you die, there's no indication in nature that anything once born will ever disappear. All organic matter, the living matter on the earth, produces the valence 60 miles above that protects us from the death rays of the sun, which also gives us the life to live. But we're punching holes in that. Farmington, down in South America, in Australia, we're punching big holes in the atmosphere. And in Africa as well, now Apple flies blimps over so that all the kids can get their gizmos and become enrolled. Nothing is free, even though everything says it's free on the net. Nothing is free. You press the button, you finish. So, it's a terrible time and a time of opportunity, you know.
Godfrey, who are we before we are born?
Ah, that's what we're going to find out when we die. We're going to go to the same place. But we're in eternity now, once born, never disintegrated, only up into the blue sky. So every day is Halloween. Every day is All Souls Day for all of us, because it's us that produces the blue valence. Anything that Cleopatra did, or Jesus, or Moses, or anybody, Joseph Stalin, it's all in the air above us. And that's for real.
And so, who are we after we die? We're the same person or being
Well,
that
that's the vivid unknown. We know nothing about, we don't even know the name of God. The only name we have in the Bible is dog, D-O-G, look it up. We don't know anything about that, but I do believe, as the first human animals believed, they buried the dead. Why? Because they had a soul. And we know nothing about where the soul's going, but we live in the black ground of space, which we know nothing about. It's like our subconscious, which we know nothing about. The stars of our past or our present. Our subconscious is the tableau of art. That's where autopsy takes place, if you dare to use that palette. It speaks to the reptilian brain, the right brain, which is the question, the rational brain, that we value more than anything.
Godfrey, on one of the previous shows we've done, you spoke about love and how when you say I love you or speak words about love, then you create that love. Can you start a little bit more at the beginning? What is love?
Well, let me say this, that love is who we are. The wars in the Middle East, in Ukraine, here, these are all good people. It's the agency that's running everything. So I believe in the goodness of people, that people love. We learn through example. You can see the mother holding the baby playing, the mother playing with the baby, even the father. So let's take that out. And now you're a little older, and there's someone who's been in the apple of your eye. We've all heard that. And you finally get up enough courage to say, I love you. In saying that, you create it. What you say creates, makes a creation. The beginning was the Word, and the Word was made flesh. So when saying that, the person might run out of the womb, treat you nicely, or embrace you with reciprocal love. It's what and if you look into the eye of the other person, who do you see but yourself? Because the other person always sees you better than you see yourself. Our eyes are faced out. We're lucky, but our ears hear everything. So we can see with our ears as well. If I talk to someone, I don't want to be I want to see them, hear them, feel them, because then I know really what they're saying.
So, what about the love, romantic love, the love between a human and God, the love for animals? Is it a force that's all the same, or are these different types of
Oh,
love?
there are many paths to the source. Like I have many children, but none of my own seed. I knew that I would make a terrible father because I'm married to my work. My work is my life. I took a vow to teach the poor gratuitously, etc., etc. No longer a monk now. A monk is me. A brother is me. No longer a Catholic. I'm now an agnostic Catholic. Smoke that one in your pipe. I'm I'm childless to work with children. So I have a lot of children, lots of children from the barrio days, from the film days. Most everybody I work with is much younger than I. Everybody except Philip, who's the old guy as well. And everybody else is young. Steven, I mean, when you're in your 60s, you're young for me.
And that's Philip Glass, the other old guy.
Yeah, he's 87 now and still travels about. And but the average age of my crew was 27. So they're children from all over the world.
Those are the merry pranksters that we meet in the short documentary, The Making of Once Within a Time.
That's correct. It's all about having fun, all about the right brain.
Now, I
Can't have
really
fun.
go
If you
ahead.
can't have fun, it's not worth doing.
Well, the documentary, which people are going to get to see at CCA following Once Within a Time, I really enjoyed seeing the way these young people look up to you and admire your leadership and your ability, your thought process.
Well, that's all I have to share is my thought process. I don't do anything. I only do what I want to do all the time. And that's, I write everything down. It's on my body, on the walls around me. I have scriptomania. Look it up. It's a mental illness. They gave me pills that could cure it. I said, no, thank you. So that's what I can offer. But I can't do any of this, you understand? So when I say in that little doc, I means we, I'm not kidding. It's the real deal. And these are way beyond my capacity. And the film's not even finished till it's seen. And Soderbergh takes care of that like you can't believe.
You know, you
I'm lucky.
mentioned, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm a lucky boy, but we've created our luck.
Now, we got to speak a little bit about Philip Glass, and maybe you'll want to talk about him a little bit. But the question is, do you think music is a universal language?
Yes, I do. It's why of all the people I collaborate with, I'm talking to Philip the most and constantly. He's a person that has a giant ego, I think you heard me say, but no vanity. He said, "Oh, I get it. It's not about text, it's about texture. You'll be surprised what the ear may hear." All of the things that Heraclitus said, he says. I mean, he speaks in aphoristic tones. He's very brilliant. So he and I both have had the opportunity to work with, let's say, a lot of other people. And we both decided to work together forever, as long as forever is not nothingness. And so we believe in the wild blue yonder, that we create babies that will live forever in nothingness, the world we live in. There are many paths to the source. This is but one. And we've created these children together that now has a lifetime as long as the lights are on. The lights shall go off. Everything goes back into nothingness, the black ground, which we know nothing about, and nothingness is full of everythingness. These are contradictory thoughts, but it's the ability to hold contradictions in your mind that gives you the clarity of sympathetic magic, distortion for clarity, paradox for clarity.
So, how did you first meet Philip Glass?
I drove him crazy. I heard his music. Soon as I heard it, I knew that's the guy, not Ligeti, not Terry Riley, all of whom I love, not Stockhausen, the madman. Uh, Philip Glass. It was always ascending, never arriving, always descending, never getting there, always a forwards and always a background and a foreground. It wasn't illustrative, it was like a dancing partner. And at in our 80s, we can dance very well, cha cha cha. We don't need assistance to do that. So I'm lucky to work with him, and together we've created something we both should be very happy about. We've created children. We've made our own luck, but we're lucky to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Expand on that, please. Making your own luck. I mean, in
Well, the
golf, you,
Chinese say you must make your own luck. Uh, they say in times of social crisis, the most important thing you can do is rename the world. What did I tell you about love? If you say you love her, you create the love. We've created a world by saying that. Like I said before, beyond the word we assemble at dawn. That's once within a time. And the making of it every day to have fun with little kids.
when you create these opportunities or these chances for good things to happen and do the preparation and the work, then the luck seems to come. But I think the public doesn't see everything that went into it along the way for
Well,
those
that's
lucky
good. You
things.
don't want to show all the magic. Like this whole film, while it uses AI and a zillion other things, it's principally done on your gizmo, the iPhone, the eye technology. But we did it with not artificial intelligence, human intelligence. That can be done. And we did it. This is a human intelligence project that takes AI and other little things just occasionally and makes them work for us.
Godfrey, that's a show. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go?
This is what art is, an affliction to make you feel better.
Everybody, this was filmmaker, thinker, Godfrey Reggio. You can see his latest film, Once Within a Time, at CCA. That's the Center for Contemporary Arts, 1050 Old Pecos Trail, November 10th. Be sure to be there and stick around for the Q&A with Godfrey Reggio himself. See you next week.